I'll be nice. Be kind.
This is the Bottom Line Sports Show with Gerald Brown and Rick Mahorn.
Imagine you trade a Chet Holmgren for a Giannis Antetokounmpo.
These guys are athletic as you know what. And you go like, oh my gosh, where's the fundamentals? Where's the pass first mentality? That's not in the league anymore.
And now here's your host, Gerald Brown and Rick Mahorn.
Guess who's back? Look at him. Look at him, y'all. Look at him.
Hey, you had that. Was that?
No. Wait a minute. Stop.
Oh, go ahead.
Start it off with get back.
Get back. Hey, G. Did you get that from the RZA or the Wu-Tang beat that you got on at the beginning?
No.
What up, boy? What up, though?
What's up, man? Hey, you've been missed, man.
Say in Detroit, but you insulting me right now wearing that Knicks stuff. You see all this Pistons behind me, man.
Hey, man,
they win a game.
I can't help it. I can't help it.
Funny.
Go New York.
G, you know it's funny that all y'all New York Knicks fans lose your mind, but when they just won the game, they could beat them by 100. It don't matter. It's one game.
It doesn't matter, Rick.
You know, when the last time y'all won the chip?
It's probably when
you had Walt Frazier.
When you had remember that's probably when you had a shag.
No, I've never had a shag because I can't grow.
Why you always tell that lie?
You got a shag right now. You got a shag right now, and guess what? I bet you got a big old blow pop in your pocket. What up, G?
Yo, stop. Stop.
Hey, forget the gummy bears.
Yo.
You ain't got no gummy bears. You got a big ass blow pop in your pocket.
Hey, yo, man.
What's up?
First, man. Hey, it's great to have you back. Upcoming Kendall Gill, definitely on a night where the Knicks are getting ready to play game 2. Got to say kudos to the Detroit Pistons. Rick, since the last time we spoke, it was really not looking good for the Detroit Pistons. They figured out and found a way to advance out of that first round series against the Orlando Magic and then come out and take care of business in game 1. What's your overall takeaways from not only game 1, but also with the whole situation with the Orlando Magic and the big game 7 win? And game 6, I
think. You know, Gerald, a lot of times people think at 3-1, until you get that fourth game, ain't shit over. Ain't nothing over. It ain't over till it's over. But the thing that would impress me about the Pistons is that it was more of the maturity that they started to get. One person in particular had a hell of a series. And, they give Tobias Harris so much grief. Oh, there's it. No, Tobias Harris was playing uncle out there. Hey, get some of this. Remember me? Hello. I'll tell you right now. He played, and he played great last night, too. One thing I like the way that he cranked it up. And now that you're getting, Jalen Duren, who didn't have a great series, but it ain't all about just one individual. That Cade Cunningham, man, oh, my gosh.
Well, you know what?
Listen.
You're talking about a big guard. Let's bring on our guest, a big guard and stuff. And
he wasn't no guard.
Yes, he was.
He wasn't no guard.
Don't be that way. Don't you be that way, Rick.
Man, he wasn't no guard.
Yes, he was.
They call him they call him Grandpa. What up, Kendall?
What's up, Rick? Hey, if I'm not a guard, you ain't a power forward.
No, I've never been. I was a basketball player. That's all that was.
Basketball player, okay.
Nah, what up? What's up, Kendall Gill?
Not much, man. How you doing?
All right, man. I'm living. Look, I woke up this morning.
There you go.
Somebody didn't wake up. Look,
you're right about
Turner
that.
didn't wake up, so it's like, okay, I'm good.
No, you're right about that, brother. Every day above ground's a good day.
Who said that?
That's right.
No. Who said that?
My grandfather used to say that.
Okay, well, you know what? It may be a good day some days, because when you look at it, the way this world, sometimes I look at social media, I don't even want to look at that stuff.
Oh,
man.
yeah, no. You're right about that, brother. You're right about that. The times we live in are crazy.
Because I'm only going to be on here for like 30 minutes. So I want
Uh,
to get to it. You know,
okay.
Kendall, you've been in this, you've been in the NBA, and you watching it right now. And the fact of the matter, I know they're getting ready for the Knicks and whoever in Philadelphia. The thing that what impresses you about these playoffs this year?
The parity in it,
Mm.
because the Orlando Magic, the eighth seed, the Detroit Pistons, the first seed. And back in the day when I was with Seattle, we were the number one seed and we lost to Denver, the number eight seed. So I'm thinking this might happen
Ooh,
again. So
ooh.
it's a possibility. And the Orlando Magic honestly are very similar to the Detroit Pistons because they built themselves through the draft. They got a lot of great young players. And Paulo Banchero went straight up head to head with Kate Cunningham, two former number one picks, and in back-to-back years. And but I always felt that I believe that was Game 6. The Pistons were down like 24 at halftime,
Yes, it
and,
was.
and yeah, and when they got to within 10 points in the fourth quarter, I said, "Oh, they're gonna win this game,"
Hmm.
and because when you got a superstar like Cade that can put you on his back and that have proven time and again, even last year against the Knicks, I said that man's turned himself into a superstar, and that's exactly what he did, and he's got a great cast of characters around him. And Rick, I just heard you talk about Tobias Harris. What he has done in not only the Orlando series but in Game 1 against Cleveland, man. I mean, he's really making a name for himself. This is the best playoffs that he's had in his whole career.
You know, Kendall and Gerald, I'm gonna just throw out about two more questions after this. Kendall, you said, you're looking at a team that says, okay, you down 24 in the NBA. Everybody, at halftime, we're leaving. This is over.
Yeah.
What is it about when players in that locker room go like, this is over, and the other team is looking at it and saying, let's analyze it. We down 12 stops. How
Right.
important is that when you find when buttholes start getting tight? You go like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. What is it about the NBA that no lead is safe?
Well, first of all, Rick, when you and I played, 24 down was a lot. In today's era where 3-point shots are prevalent, 24 points is really not that much to overcome. I mean, I've been doing the Bulls games here as the pre-half game and post-game analyst for the Bulls for almost 18 years now. And I have seen so many leads disappear because of the 3-point shot. I think that
Hmm.
when you have players like Cade Cunningham, Tobias Harris, and Dorn and all those guys that have ultimate confidence and that have had a great season as the number one seed, that they had the confidence to say, look, this lead is not insurmountable. We can cut the lead. If we can get to 10, which they did by the fourth quarter, then we can win this game. I think that was the mindset. And Rick, of course, you being a former champion and everything, you know what the mindset is. And I
Yeah.
think that's why I like the Detroit Pistons to possibly get to the championship.
Wow.
And
Kendall, you
hold on, man. Forget. Listen,
I see
listen,
your Knicks.
Gerald.
I see your Knicks.
Hey, Gerald.
Kendall,
They win one game.
Kendall,
Y'all
come
all
on,
up.
man. Don't do that.
Ooh,
Come on.
go New York, go New York,
Kendall, don't
go.
do that, Kendall.
Man, you better listen. That's like the Giants, okay? I don't want to hear. But
Uh,
Kendall, our philosophy when we won our championships, our philosophy was no, and that was back when the 3-pointer wasn't as prevalent as it is now. You only use that.
yeah.
That was like break the glass and say, okay, I need to call the fire department. Our thing was
Right.
we had a saying when we were down 20 a couple of times. In fact, we had a series that went against the 8th seeded team, but back then it was the best of 5. We
Uh-huh.
kind of it was against the Washington Bullets, and that's
Okay.
we go like we were down, we were down 2-1 going to Washington. Our whole philosophy was, we let our defense do the work, because all of a
Mhm.
sudden, like I said, people get tight. They couldn't make a shot for 9 damn minutes, nine
Mhm.
straight minutes. They scored. I think they made one field goal, but that was
Mhm.
like I said. the game is not over until it's over, and it's not an insurmountable lead. If you don't calculate it down 20, only thing you look at is we used to look at it. We're down 10 stops. That's
Right.
it, one at a time. So I understand what you're saying. And in today's league, the 3-pointer is prevalent. I mean, the Knicks, they blasted Philadelphia, and but
Yeah.
each game has its own its own entity. So what do you see? And not saying we're going to talk. I'm talking about the Knicks. What do you see with Philadelphia, the adjustments that they need to make?
Well, one thing they need to do, and we all know that the first game is somewhat of a throwaway game in the playoffs sometimes, especially when you coming off of a big victory, which the Sixers did against Toronto. You going into Madison Square Garden.
No,
Of course, the
Boston.
Knicks had. Oh, I'm sorry, against Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Game 7, correct? So
Yep.
you're going into Boston off an emotional win. You're going into Madison Square Garden. The Knicks waiting for you. Okay, they've been rested, and you playing in the Garden, and Rick, you know how it is playing in the Garden. It's tough, no matter what type of team that they have, and they just ran into something that they weren't quite prepared for just yet. But when you got Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, Joel Embiid, who, in my opinion, is the X factor for this whole series.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get used, it's like in a boxing match. You get hit a couple times, and then you have to adjust yourself, get your sea legs, and now you're ready to fight. I think that's what's going to happen in Game 2 against the Knicks. And going back to your point with your defense when you were winning championships with the Pistons, I think that this current Pistons team has the same type of mentality, because if you notice against the Cleveland Cavaliers, they were making things hard for James Harden, because they was up in him. And Rick, they allow sometimes, they've changed a lot of rules defensively in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
but now in the playoffs, it seems like they're letting them play like we used to play. That's why the Pistons were able to cut the Orlando Magic's water off. That's why they sometimes able to cut the Cleveland Cavaliers water off last night. That's why I like the Pistons.
Hey, Kendall, I want to include you also into this, Rick, as well. It's really interesting because if you look at the series between the Pistons and the Magic, and then as well as the Spurs versus the Timberwolves, how much experience factors into it? Because I look at the Orlando Magic and look at their offensive possessions in that Game 6, especially in that third, kind of going in that fourth quarter. They kind of actually played into the hands of the Pistons, enabling them to come back just because of the shot selections, really just staying with the three. But you can clearly see that they had no chemistry and experience of playing together in those tight moments. And you kind of see that somewhat in that Spurs and Timberwolves game, which that first game kind of shocked everybody. How much experience would you say has been a factor in obviously the Pistons overcoming the Magic, and then obviously in that Game 1 with the Spurs and Timberwolves?
Yeah, experience is everything. I can remember going to the Chicago Stadium when I was in college to watch Rick and those guys play with the Michael Jordan led Chicago Bulls. And honestly, over 3 quarters, the Bulls would be playing with the Pistons and everything. But then come that fourth quarter, when the Pistons decided to use their experience and put this team away, they did it each and every time. And I think that was all because of experience. I mean, you look at Kate Cunningham. I think he's wise beyond his years, as far as handling the basketball at 6'8", can play the point guard position. His basketball IQ is probably amongst the highest in the league. That's experience. He had that experience with the New York Knicks in that series last year, and I think that carried over. Same thing with San Antonio and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Experience is key, especially when you get to the second, third round in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I agree with what Kendall just said. You do have to have the experience. You have to learn to lose in order to win. And
Yeah.
I look at the Minnesota, not only Minnesota, but I look at the Pistons as well. It's about how do you figure it out? And I talk about a lot of times where it's a lot of guys that come in this league that don't understand what this league is about. Physicality comes, and when we were playing Orlando Magic, I think it was a letdown for Orlando when Wagner didn't come back in that third
Yeah, yeah,
period. And a
yeah.
lot of times that's a letdown as well because your flow is done. Because what they were doing, they really cut Duran off. It was
Mhm.
like Duran wasn't really into that particular series because what they do in the playoffs, they cut off the heads of the snake. They try to make sure that okay, we ain't gonna let K just go left, right, or whatever, or we ain't
Mhm.
gonna let Duncan Robinson shoot these open threes. Each game has a different story, a different chapter. What's going to be? I'm already analyzing what Cleveland's going to have to do tomorrow to make the adjustments, and the same with the Pistons because you did have a 17-point lead in the first quarter. You came out there like, yeah, 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 but you
Yeah.
have to learn to not go, yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to sustain it, and then when it comes time to finish.
I think he spoke too much, and I don't think
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think Cleveland. He's still there. But I ask you, Kendall, in regards to what Rick was talking as he comes back on, when you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers and that Pistons series, and you look at the situation currently with James Harden, obviously it's been a lot of pressure put on James Harden. He's a former MVP. Is this one of those moments of truth where, again, a defining legacy moment in playing in this series for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who will desperately need him to step up big time?
Yeah, no, I think it is because the rap on James is that, he's a great regular season player, but he can't get it done in the playoffs. And, I think that he's with a team now that honestly takes a lot of pressure off of him. I mean, you got Donovan Mitchell, who's one of the better guards in this league, and you got to cast the players around you that can really get it done, and you know, I think that for his legacy, though, even though that he has all the tools around him, for his legacy, he needs to play well. So that stigma doesn't stay with him. Only being a great regular season player.
Yeah. If there's Achilles heel, because I'm not going to ask Rick this because again, obviously the Piston connection. If there's an Achilles heel with the Detroit Pistons, would that area of concern be the perimeter shooting? Because again, it seemed like they in that using the boxing analogy, because obviously your boxing background, it
Mhm.
seemed like Orlando punched them first, right? In the first few games and stuff like that, they punched them. But it got to that game 6 in that third quarter or so, they seemed to be in this response where they punched back and counterpunched, and the Magic didn't have any response. But yet their offense, it seems like, again, really, really don't have that solid perimeter scoring. Is that perhaps the Achilles heel for the Pistons when it comes to their offense?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Cade, in my opinion, is a very good 3-point shooter. I mean, he shoots it effortlessly. Then you have, of course, Robinson. But you need a third guy, and you need a third guy to come in and knock down some 3-point shots. Now the guy with the long hair, the dreads, the lead guard that comes off the bench, I don't know his name,
Jenkins.
but Jenkins, yeah, he
Mhm.
has the ability to knock down threes as well. But I think you're absolutely right. If there is an Achilles heel, it is their shooting. They're out shooting.
Yeah, I mean, Gerald, don't get me wrong. I'm not the guy that's hiding in the closet.
I
Yeah,
ain't say that.
shooting like
I ain't
you are.
say that,
A lot of times, like your hairline is all the way back, 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 back,
it
back,
is.
back. And
This is what we
no,
do, Kendall.
but
I see
you
this is what
know,
we do, Kendall. I'm just gonna go ahead and work on him. You
Kendall,
know what I'm
hey
saying, Kendall?
Kendall,
You don't
we
understand.
play.
Yeah,
He don't know we played together, so it don't matter. So
yeah, yeah,
whatever he's
yeah.
saying, I don't care. But
Right.
when and the fact is, weaknesses. You try to find that third, that not only the secondary, but that third score as well. Look, last
Mhm.
night Struce was hot. I mean,
He
you had
was, yeah.
Struce. If you believe in the three, you live by the three. Sometimes you're gonna die by the three. And they came back
Mhm.
with that 3-pointer. But when all of a sudden things don't happen for you, you got to get back defensively. If you don't play defense as much as you play the looking to shoot threes, that's why I look at Philadelphia. I was like, okay, can they get back on defense? Because all I see is them pushing the ball. They looking to try to, get threes and go one-on-one, but it takes a team
Mhm.
effort. So when I look at Pistons and say, okay, a three, look, who hit a three? Ryan Holland hit a three, and you go like at the buzzer, and you go,
Yeah.
okay. Well, sometimes you could kick the ball and it could go straight in, but I look at it and say, what do you hang your hat on? That's what I said. Be your character. Your character is defense. So what you
Yeah.
saw was defense in that fourth period when Cleveland did get the lead by 1 point, but then next thing
Mhm.
you know, click, 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 there you go. So I know what you're saying is we do have a lot of teams have Achilles heels. Maybe it is our 3-point shooting, but you know what? It will come because as these series start to embody what teams are going to do, and once you find out what counters and what counter punching, like you said, stick and move, you'll see the difference tomorrow night, because the pressure is on Cleveland to try to steal a game so they could
Yeah.
get the home court advantage, and the same with Philadelphia, and Minnesota went down there and stole a game, so they're going to have 2 home games. But here's the thing, Gerald. I was in the finals. We stole a game out there in LA. This is when they went 2-3-2. We stole the game out in LA. We thinking we got 3 home games. Oh,
Mhm.
we gonna get it. Unbeknownst to us, they beat us they beat one game to get it back so we could play them 2 games. I like what the league has done with the 2-2-1-1-1, because it makes it kind of a fair balance. But this is each game twos are counter punches. And if you don't follow that wave and get caught up in it, you're going to look at the good things you've done to win the game, but you're also going to look at the bad things that you really messed up on.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Kendall, we want to ask you a couple more questions before we let you get on out of here. In
Okay.
regards, you played at one point with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we
Mhm.
talked about obviously them getting that first game. And it just seems like if you look at it, a lot of the times they seem to be under the radar. But this is a team where I talk about experience. They've been to 2 consecutive Western Conference Finals. In your opinion, do you think their head coach Chris Finch and that group get the credit that they deserve?
Not really. I don't think they get the credit that they deserve at all, and also the front office too, the way that they made the trade. I mean, I think that they stole Ayo Dosunmu from the
Yeah.
Chicago Bulls.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, they got Rob Dillingham and then a couple more players, and I think a second round pick. But Ayo Dosunmu at the time was the 4th leading 3-point shooter in the league. Before the trade happened, and they were able to poach Ayo Dosunmu, and the way that Chris Finch coaches the team, especially with 2 key players out.
Yes.
You got Anthony Edwards, DiVincenzo out, and you're not supposed to go into San Antonio and win.
Yeah, and Edwards came back though. Edwards came back and I guess he's injured, but he's still, he's hurt, but he still played. But you're right.
No, he ain't hurt, Gerald. Here's the thing. I don't want to hear anything about somebody being hurt, because you want to know something? If you on that damn court, you ain't hurt.
I
Yeah. Was he 100% though?
No.
Wait, but hold on. Nobody's 100% at this point in the career. At the end of the damn year, But here's the thing, that when I look at Minnesota, and also you talk experience and you talk about Minnesota, they went down there and they stole one. How
Yeah.
can they sustain it? Because it wasn't like they beat them by 10. They beat them by a few points. They were lucky enough to get it. Plus, San Antonio had a break. Sometimes you get kind of dormant and you go like,
You do.
okay, yeah. And so you're home, and you think Victor Wembanyama's going to shoot like he did last game?
No, he's not. No, man. He's too great of a player. He's going to come back.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Now, you're a boxing enthusiast. It's so funny because just last week I ran into former middleweight champion Iran Barkley, and it was just so interesting that
Who that?
See, if you stop saying that so
Who
much,
that?
is
he a Knicks fan?
No, he's not.
Okay.
But you know what? When you look at the current state of boxing, Kendall, and just looking at obviously UFC has arisen, and it's just how obviously tied into ESPN. If you were the boxing commissioner, what changes would you make to be able to bring this sport that once was this promising, thriving sport back to life to be able to be competitive with the UFC and really satisfy boxing fans out there?
Well, honestly, I don't really buy into the boxing is second to UFC, because when boxing does have big fights, say for instance Canelo versus Terrence Crawford, the purses that these guys make are far way beyond that of any UFC fight. Okay. You look at David Benavidez versus Zerto Ramirez last weekend, huge fight. Okay. And that was the type of fight that we wanted. But if there was a commission, I would say that you have to have everybody fight each other like they did back when we had the Four Kings: Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Thomas Hearns, Marvin Hagler. That's what I would like to see happen. Sort of like I don't know if you remember the Super Six back in the day. If they could have the Super Six, so it could be a process of elimination. I would love to see Gervonta Davis fight Devin Haney. When you got great fighters all around that weight class, they need to fight each other in order to bring back the viewership. And also, too, when we have a big fight, everybody tunes in. You go back to Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. Netflix have never done numbers like that. And you talking about a YouTuber.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I think, in my humble opinion, that desecrates the sport. Because one of the reasons what I remember, and see, again, I'm a kid that grew up, you watched, Wide World of Sports, or you had the Saturday fights. We were introduced to amateur boxers through the Olympics, and then we kind of followed them. You think about Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya. Mm-hmm. There's no outlet for those fighters to be able to garner a fan base that will follow them and watch them rise up, to be able to say, okay, now let's put them on pay-per-view. And then I think the biggest challenge is, where can you fight them? The Zone and their outlet, that's great. But there was a time when you not only had CBS, you had ABC, had fights, but now HBO and, you had those fights on those sort of cable networks. Those are long gone. And that's one of the things where I said before with UFC, it's like every week they're having it, but they have a platform. That's something where, I thought it was a travesty to have Jake Paul out there and fight, because he's a YouTuber. That's not the sport, that at least I love and grew up with.
No, I agree with you, because I'm a boxing purist as well. But the thing is, though, Jake Paul, as much as I don't like the dude, and as much as I think he's a farce, he brought eyes to the sport. And that's bottom line what the networks, that being Netflix, The Zone, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the numbers. Who can bring, the most eyes to the sport and the most money to the sport. And I agree with you. I wish there were other platforms in which we could get amateur boxing on and things like that. But now you look at Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia built his platform through social media. And that's really how he started getting big level fights. And he's a great fighter. He's a world champion. But that's how he built himself through social media. And now you got Jerome Boots Ennis.
Yeah,
coming up with a fight. And this was a guy had HBO, Showtime, been around. We would have known about already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So we do need, like, The Zone and Netflix, if they are going to be the major platforms for boxing, to really start marketing these guys and putting them on more often. We can't have guys like Errol Spence Jr., who's fighting Costa Tszyu Jr. Coming up soon. We haven't seen Earl since he lost to Terrence Crawford. That's been 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You gotta keep it. Gotta keep. But okay, Kendall, here's one for me, man. We do training as big men, as former basketball players. Mm-hmm. I tried. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. I was in DC, and somebody said I tried this one boxer. I can't remember his name offhand, but he wanted me to train with him. Man, I said, what the fuck am I doing out here? I punched the bag, you do the bag for whatever 3 minutes or whatever. Man, when I walked out of that, after that workout, I said, I had much respect for boxing, and getting to know you because you're the original KG. So I don't even want to hear all
No,
that.
thanks,
So
thanks, Rick.
you
Thanks,
gonna be
Rick.
my man regardless.
All right.
But
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sitting here going like, I remember, you talk about this is how you keep in shape during the summer. That is one of the, man, I swear, Gerald, if you ever try it, man, my arms, it felt like I was like, oh my gosh, my arms were done. I'm up here punching the speed bag up like this, and I'm sitting there going like, what the fuck am I doing out here? But you know what?
Yeah.
I know I gotta go. But man, it's so good to see you. When he said Kendall Gill, I said, oh, we got
Ah.
the real KG on here, man. That's what you should go ahead and get that. You should get it back, man. Don't let them take your name, man.
No,
Because
no, I won't.
no,
But no, but anyway, so then we would run like 5 miles, and then next
Yep.
thing you know, you get in the gym. What made you, if you didn't play basketball, would that be the sport that you would have done?
Yeah, because growing up on the south side of Chicago, my grandmother sent me to the store one day, and my grandmother lived on 79th and Sangamon, and 79th and Halsted is a couple of streets east of Sangamon. So I'm walking there, and I don't know if you guys remember Woolworths back in the day,
Oh
yeah.
but
yeah,
but
Gerald bought all his clothes from there. Still do.
Hey,
yeah,
hey, that's what we can
so
afford now. Come on now.
That was your
right.
fit though. That they all had them big sizes, like Walmart.
No, that's right. So I'm walking down the street, and on 79th and Halsted, Muhammad Ali was standing there holding court. Okay, and
Mm,
he was talking to all the people. All these people were around him. I'm wondering what's going on. And I walk up, and Muhammad Ali is only 6'3", which is tall, but he looked like he was 7 feet tall to me as a little kid. You know,
uh-huh.
and I said I want to be just like that. You know, so I boxed, and when my parents moved us from the south side of Chicago out to the suburbs, there was no more boxing gym. Because the kids out there, they go to the country club and play baseball and all that shit. So, so I couldn't box anymore. So that's actually where I picked up basketball. I used to hate basketball, man, until I went
Mm.
out to the suburbs. And then when I retired, I wanted to, fulfill my childhood dream. So I had 4 professional fights and trained professionally, and
What's the
it was
record?
tough.
What's the
4-0,
record?
Rick. 4-0,
Oh,
Rick.
okay, that's all I need to know.
You know,
I'm about to get online to see if I can see it on YouTube or something. Nah,
no,
man.
no, no. Listen. I had a good matchmaker, right? So the thing is, though, man, boxing training is the hardest thing I've ever been through.
Wow.
And the dudes
Ever.
in the gym, yeah, ever, and the dudes in the gym, they wasn't taking it easy on me
Mm.
because their mindset was, oh, you think you can come into our gym? So, I took a lot of punishment, but I dealt with it and came out on the other side. So, and the main thing I did, I got their respect for the effort that I put in. I wasn't playing around, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, but I'm glad I went through it, man, because it was a soul searching thing, because right after we retire and everything, we looking,
What's
for a new
next?
identity and what's next and everything.
Hmm.
That's what was next for me. And then, of course, I went on into broadcasting, but I'm glad I was able to do it.
Well,
Yeah.
you can't take licks. You don't take licks the same way in this broadcasting. Only thing you can
No,
take is
Hey,
somebody
hey,
looking at you and critiquing you. At least you ain't wearing them pink suits like my man, you know, the Stephen A. You got some style, boy. Your fits are tight. That's all I'm gonna say. Even
thanks,
when we
man.
played, I was like, what Kendall wearing today? And then we get on the road trip, and I was like, I'm coming in, I'm wearing my stuff too. What the hell? I could dress
Hey,
too.
hey, Rick,
Nah, but
Rick, what really disturbs me, man? When I see them brothers on the bench
don't
and
even
they got
don't
they,
don't.
they got
Kendall
hats
Willis
on
talk
back.
about
I
this.
don't want to see nobody's
Yeah, King
ass.
Gill talk about
I don't
this.
want
Kendall
to see
Willis.
nobody's drawers. It's like,
Exactly.
man, pull your pants up. You're
Right.
you're a professional. I don't think
Exactly.
it's like I tell I try see like Shea Gilgis will walk in there with some stuff on and be like, okay, now that's he's trying, but you sitting on that bench. you got a T-shirt or raggedy T-shirt on, your hat all
Yeah,
cropped.
yeah.
Man, I want to go out there and take my belt out and take my belt to ass. But you know
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
The coaches don't get dressed no more. So
I
Kendall,
know, I know, I know. They
but
don't.
it's more like once COVID hit, it was like, okay, we can't, and trust me, I like, now the coaches don't have to pack that shit no more. We
Yeah,
had to pack, now it's like, okay, I could wear some bummy ass jeans, ripped jeans, and I could go on the plug, man. But I understand. I always tell the young guys, remember, it's something after basketball.
that's right. That's
And
right.
and,
You
and
you
you ain't gonna
100% right
play
about that.
this. I was blessed to play 19 years, and you ain't gonna play it that long. And you go like,
Right.
what's the? And then I was getting opportunities because look, you dress nice. We'll like to
Uh-huh.
dress you and get more stuff. So I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, let's do this.
Yeah, and Rick also too, I was able to parlay my dressing into I'm a member of the Silver Fox Squad now, who
Oh,
is a group of men over 50 years old. We all got great beards and we wear hats and stuff like that. And we've been pretty popular for the last 6 or 7 years. And we go to all these events in the summertime and everything. And this has parlayed us into a reality TV show that we're shooting this summer. you know,
Wow.
so yeah, so it's all about. I mean, and it's simply because I dressed when I was in the league,
oh
and the
yeah.
and the founder, yeah, and the founder of the Silver Fox Squad remembered that and asked me to come out and be a part of the group, and that's why, man.
Well, I
What,
You
can't
know,
grow that beard. I
yeah,
can't grow that beard
yeah.
because
What
look,
platform is it gonna be
this,
on?
hey, this right here. This is what 7 days, and I'm still trying to get some.
7 days. Oh, okay.
Man, I
It's
don't
going.
grow hair, and it's like it's like, man, I know it's the American Indian in me, for my family, but I'm like,
Right.
man,
Who
I
you from
want.
Connecticut? Get on out of here with that
Oh,
old American.
hey, you don't even,
You got
you don't
grease
even know
on your head.
the
Put that dye
Pequot,
in your
the
hair.
Pequot
Sit up here
Indians.
lying.
Oh,
With your
go ahead on,
slow
man.
rice
Take that.
haircut.
Hey,
Stop all that
Kendall, I
lying,
love
Rick.
you to death. You could deal with that ugly Nick fan, whatever, Spike Lee looking fake Jerry Curly
Oh,
got in
there
his
you go.
head.
Hey,
They,
Kendall, before we let you get on out of here, what platform would it be on?
It's going to be on Bounce TV. We got signed by Kevin Hart Productions about 2 years ago. So this has
oh,
been in the works for almost 2 years, and
well, I'm gonna make
it'll be
sure.
on Bounce in the fall. So y'all check it out, man.
No, you better
Definitely,
come
man.
back on, and you better not
No,
have
yeah,
on
I'll
no
come back on.
canary. You better not have no canary yellow suit on there, because I'm gonna tear
Now,
you up.
hey, he's sharp. It's sharp, but I tell you this, hey, Kendall, you can always shave it off if you ever want to get back in the ring. Listen, Mayweather and Pacquiao look like they're gonna go ahead and do it again.
Man,
And
I'm
they're
gonna
gonna
get
do
a baseball bat and find them dudes. I don't want to see all that. That
Hey, but let me tell you now. So we talked about UFC rivaling boxing. In this current age, I guarantee you that fight will make more than any fighter that the UFC has ever made.
oh, I know, because they
They
want to
go, they
see
go, they
two
go.
old. They want to see two old ass dudes. That's like me getting on the court playing against you. I'm like, I'm done.
Hey, we
or,
can't do that no more, Rick. We can't do that
no,
no more.
or Michael versus Magic. It'd be like,
Yeah,
man, I ain't
yeah.
watching that.
nobody watching that. Kendall, you have also a boxing show. Talk real quickly about the parlay.
Yeah, the parlay is my boxing show that I do with Tony Lopez. We cover Chicago local boxing, and we also cover national and international events as well. We just got 2 or 3 more correspondents, so we're growing. And because I'm a boxing fanatic, I love to stay within the sport and talk and interview fighters and everything. We just had Paulie Malignaggi on
Wow.
a few
New
months
York.
back. Yeah, New York, Paulie Malignaggi, who's fighting bare knuckle fights now. For
Wow.
some reason, I don't know why Paulie is
What?
doing that.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, 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 no. Oh my gosh. This is
yeah.
bringing me
He's
to the
he's
streets, baby.
yeah he's doing that. But in the future, we're gonna have Shannon Briggs on, who's another New Yorker from Brownsville,
Yes.
Mhm.
Brooklyn, and just look for more things for us to come, man, because we want to get all champions on our show to tell us their stories.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
dude,
got to connect, man. I'm gonna make sure I connect with you because you got to get Iran Barkley on there, man.
Definitely. I would love to have Iran Barkley on there because he's such a great fighter. I love to talk to him about the Thomas Hearns fight when he knocked Tommy Hearns out. Also, when he fought Roberto Duran and all that, and then James Toney. I love to talk to him about all that.
Yeah,
Oh
I'll definitely
man,
make that happen
I'm
for you.
I'm
But
tuning
Yeah,
in, KG. I'm tuning in, boy.
yeah, I
Keep
appreciate
doing,
it, Rick. I appreciate
keep
it.
doing
Uh,
you, man. Much love and respect, boy.
all
Hey,
right, man.
Gerald,
Great seeing you, man.
you too. Hey, Gerald, go get a job. You get on my
shut up.
nerves. Yeah,
Get
shut
out of here.
up,
Get a better
loser.
t-shirt. Get on out of here.
Yeah, whatever.
Kendall, hey,
All
before we
right,
let you
fellas.
get on out here, man, listen, thanks again, man. All the best.
You're
I'm going
welcome.
to say personally, man, big fan of your game, even going back to Illinois, man, and what you were able to accomplish in
Thank
there.
you.
Great friend of mine, as you can see his jersey. One of the guys up there is jersey. BJ Armstrong, talked to him today.
Oh yeah.
He said, hey, man, Kendall Gill, good pro, man, a professional, a pro's pro, and definitely had nothing but great things to say about you. But listen, continued success, all you do. Definitely, I'll stay in contact and make sure to make those things happen. And do us a favor when you get a chance, come back on the show. Love to pick your brain some more about some boxing as well as these NBA playoffs.
Absolutely, my man. I appreciate it.
All the best. Kendall Gill
All
joining us right here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. So, and closing it out, it's just really good. And obviously, when you have a situation to have a guy like that, Kendall Gill, to offer some tremendous insight, and being able to talk about the games and stuff. Listen, we know the Knicks are playing tonight. I'm wearing my Knicks stuff, proud and loud. I am not ashamed about it all. And clearly, the biggest thing that you have to take away from tonight's game is the fact is that, let's be honest, no Embiid, no chance. I think it's no chance whatsoever. Can they get a game? Maybe. But, to think the Knicks are going to go out and shoot the way they did in game one, that's probably not the case. But I think that clearly the Knicks learned something about themselves in that game 3 or game 4 of the Atlanta series. They really, really stepped up and understood what's at stake and try to make sure you don't give teams life at all. So do expect them to take care of business. And Joel Embiid, if you already didn't hear about it, he's out tonight. He's going to be out. And see, the biggest thing is what I said to start this series. If the Philadelphia 76ers were going to have a chance to at least beat the Knicks, you're going to have Joel Embiid play in every game. And he's got to play at least 30-plus minutes. Because the more he's out there, the more stabilizer he is to that offense. He's going to force Karl Anthony Towns to play defense on him. He's going to force the shuffling of the bigs. Without him out there, I think it's really, really no chance at all. I'm just being honest. Go New York, go New York. As I said before, with the Lakers and Thunder, look, no Luka Doncic, and the talk about Luka, really is uncertain when he comes in. I think, honestly, you know what? Game 1 just really showed what I talked about with the Knicks. You don't play around with a team. And clearly, the Thunder know if the Lakers are going to have a chance to beat them, they're going to have to step down to the Lakers level. And as far as what we've seen in game 1, that's not happening. Now, as far as Luka Doncic, I think the Lakers should shut him down. There's no reason to continue to prolong him and think that he's going to be able to come back when essentially he hasn't been able to even get on the court to be able any type of conditioning to help this team. And look, the Lakers don't have 2 or 3 weeks and stuff. This is not the regular season. I think it'll only be apropos to really just shut them down and allow the Lakers to understand mentally and physically, this is who we have, and let's go to war with what we have. Tonight is going to be the first test for the San Antonio Spurs. Yeah, we heard about the fact is that, you want to go in and you want to try to win game 2. Well, the Minnesota Timberwolves essentially took game 1. Now they're playing with house money. But I don't feel that way about this Minnesota Timberwolves team. They are understanding that, the sooner the better, the quicker you take care of business, the more time you will have to move on and let guys further adapt and adjust into their new roles. We understand Anthony Ant-Man Edwards is not 100% healthy. So any type of extending this series, that puts more wear and tear on your superstar and Ant-Man Edwards. And look, they go in tonight I expect them to come out there and look to try to get game 2. And why I say this is the Spurs' first test tonight is because now you are in a space where you already have lost home court advantage. So we're going to learn a lot about Victor Wembanyama tonight. We're going to learn a lot about those young players because how they will respond to adversity. How will be the big test for them? And now this will be the big test for Victor Wembanyama to be able to see at this stage of his career if he's able to put the book bag on, i.e., the San Antonio Spurs, and say, guys, I'm going to take us to a victory and don't worry about it. I got us. He did that from a defensive standpoint, but obviously they were short in terms of on the offensive side. Were they rusty game 1? I'm not buying that. Why? Because at the end of the day, you look at both of these teams, it was an evenly matched game. And no matter how much they pulled away and tried to pull away, Minnesota stayed the course. And that's what I said. Experience is the big key with them moving forward. So, look, enjoy the game. Don't forget, as I always say, really appreciate you supporting the show, making sure that, again, we're back next week. Tuesday, hopefully maybe Wednesday. We're going to have another dynamic show, another great set of guests. Like to thank Kendall Gill. The big man, Rick Mahorn, returned on the scene with a gangster lean. Like to thank him for tuning in and like being a part because obviously he's moving and grooving, shaking and baking with the Pistons and really their series right now as they're chasing the championship and that Pistons history. That's at stake. But like I said before, really appreciate all those that have supported the Bottom Line Sports Show, subscribing to the channel, getting updated on what we have going on. I'd like to thank Millions. Make sure you continue. We're going to find out. We're going to have more information about Millions, the website, and one of the new up-and-coming sports sites and stuff. We're going to have some merchandise. So it's a lot of stuff. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow me. Follow me on Instagram, G Brown Sports, because like I said before, just like boxing, it's all about numbers. It's no more developing. It's all about numbers. And one of the things we want to make sure we do, that no disrespect to anybody else, we're going to give you quality sports talk, quality sports guests, and quality guests in general, because we always like to refer our tagline, simply nothing but the best for the best. For Kendall Gill, Rick Mahorn, I'm Gerald Brown. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. We're not going to forget about the NHL or MLB. That's all taking place. Enjoy all of the sports. And you know what? Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Bottom Line Sports Show's out. Peace.